before we do my hunting bow build and get into shooting and prep for this season, I wanted to talk about some of the changes I'm making for 2024 based on 2023. So the first and the most major one I would say is with the bow itself. So I'm still shooting the Z1S. It's still their speed bow from Hoyt. But what I did is I changed the limbs. So previously I had, they were also bourbon color. I had 50-pound limbs. I had those maxed out to about 52, 53 pounds. And I shot really good with that, but this year I'm going on a moose hunt and I want to get my poundage up. So that is the goal. I got the 60-pound limbs on there right now. It's set to about 54, and we're going to be shooting that throughout the season. The sight I'm going to use is going to remain the same. That is the Spot Hog Fast Eddy. This is a 3-pin. I've had this sight for 2 seasons now, and I really like it. The 3 pins is nice. Each pin has its own indicator. And I run bee stinger stabilizers. I like a short stabilizer. I can add a little more weight if I need to, but in case I'm hunting in blinds or having to crawl around, I like a shorter stabilizer. Some people like a longer one for shooting long distance, but I haven't had any problems. I actually might shoot this bow better than my target bow, all things being equal. I also have the Hoyt sidebar with a short stabilizer out the back. Also going to run the same Hamskea rest and peep sight that I did before. I have no lens in this, and I don't have any reducer. It's just the wide open Hamskea, and then the rest is just the most basic version they make. So that's the bow in a nutshell, pretty much staying the same. On the bow, previously I was running this tight spot. It's a 5-arrow quiver, and I really liked the quiver in terms of how tight it fit against the bow. It could fit about a hand's width from the bow. But 2 things that I struggled with throughout the season. One is the adjustability here, which you might be able to see on the more close-up here, that has to do with tightening and opening this clamp. I wanted to back out all the time. And I would have a rattly quiver on my bow, which I didn't really enjoy. Secondarily, because it only has the 1 strip of clamps, it seemed like my arrows wanted to slide a lot, and I was constantly readjusting them. So this year I'm going to try Hoyt's, I think it's I'd have to look at the name again. It's also 5-arrow quiver, but it's got 2 clamp assemblies, and it sits really close to the bow with the screw toggle, which I can just really crank on. And we'll see how well it does, whether this wants to back out or whether it stays tight on the bow. But I have high hopes that this is going to be an improvement over the tight spot, which I will keep, and there's still an attachment for on my bow. So if I get going and realize this doesn't do as well, then I can always go back to the tight spot. The next thing would be the release. So I've been using the same TrueFire Synapse release for 2 years now. It's a trigger or thumb button. Here is the TrueFire Synapse, I believe it's called. This has tension and travel as well, tension travel as well. I run it pretty hot, same thing. You got to click it to activate it. It has a hook so it can attach to a D-loop, and then just build pressure to make it go off. But this has been really good to me. But I have lost 2 of these in the last 2 years, mostly because I'm a klutz, and I haven't really figured out a chest rig versus fanny pack. I run both, and I'm undecided on which one I like better. But I've had trouble with losing these. So traditionally, I would keep my hinge, which I was using for target archery, as a backup. This is a Scott Select. It has a lock on it, which is cool, so you can practice. It also has a adjustable moon for travel and for the click, so you can have the click on or off, and then you just kind of rotate around those moons until it clicks and then releases. I think for me it's a strength issue, but I come out of my shot a lot with this because it takes so long to get to the click and then to break after the click that I think I'm already getting kind of tired by the time it actually goes off, and I'm not as focused as I am with the thumb button. So this has been my primary for target and hunting, and I've been carrying this around because I can take the thumb peg out and slide it in the front of my bino harness, and it stays with me on the mountain or wherever I'm hunting, so that I can quickly put it back together if I need to and use it. That said, you can't. I've heard horror stories of people trying to punch hinges in wind or in places where you need to have a fast shot, and because of that, I don't really like having the hinge as my backup, because every place that I've hunted in the last 2 years has been windy, and the shot needed to break relatively quick. So this year, I'm going to try taking this Stan Onyx click and have that be my backup release. I'm going to disassemble it because I always keep a Allen set, and it'll also make it sit flush in my bino harness. But I'm going to shoot with this season and just see how I like it. All right, so this is a close-up of the Stan Onyx click that I have. I moved the trigger part of the way to get the click, and then the rest of the way to activate it. Just push it, and you can hang it on your D-loop. So really curious to try this this year as a backup. This has a tension and a travel adjustment similar to my Synapse release from TrueFire. That is my primary release. I broke the thumb off of it by dropping it, so this is a replacement thumb that does not go with the release, but it works pretty good. So it's not really how it's supposed to be, but just so you can see it. I'll try to shoot it the same way. So I'll put these fingers together, and just pull with my outside finger until get the click, and then keep pulling to get it to go off. I plan on spending a lot of time with this summer, making sure that it hits close or the same as this, and if it doesn't, that I know what kind of adjustment I need to make in the field to get it hitting right where it needs to. So that's another, outside of my bow, I'd say this is probably the second biggest change. They also have very similar shank and hand setups, which I think is going to help them to hit in the same spot or close to it. They both fit my hand just about the same, and the shank is about the same in length from where the bottom of the finger goes. So I'm hoping that these hit really close together, and I have a solid backup in that. So a lot changing with my arrows. First and foremost, I'm going to try on one set of arrows these AEE hybrid vanes. And the reason I'm doing that is they don't require an activator, and two, to me they look like they have a little bit more surface area than the Hunters, which I had been running. And on my moose hunt, I plan on running a big fixed blade. So I'm hoping that helps me with some steering. These are the first time I've put them on, and I'll be honest with you, it saves so much time than having to primer pen every one of these Hunter vanes. And then, as I already mentioned, I'm running a big fixed head on the front. This is a cutthroat 3-blade in 150 grains. Total weight, this arrow is just over 500 grains. That's been recommended for the moose hunt because I would only draw, hopefully by the time the moose hunt happens, 60 pounds. Right now about 54, 55. So I want to transfer energy as effectively as I can. Then next we have my hunting arrow from last year. Everything is the same about this arrow, except I'm running halo lighted nocks for all my arrows. I have two of these here, just the regular Easton nock that I was running last year, and here's the halo nock. These are supposedly really good. I've heard good feedback on these. Matter of fact, let me turn one on just so that we can see how bright they are. It's well lit in here, so you might not be able to see it well, but that is incredibly bright. And hopefully the battery life on this is good enough that it'll stay bright for quite a long time. I think it'll be better for footage for y'all to be able to see where my arrows are going, and then for me to be able to review my footage and understand where I hit an animal, or if it sticks in it, maybe help with some recovery of animal. It's also the reason I run white vanes, is I like to be able to see blood on the veins. On the end of the arrow, I have 2 new broadheads I'm trying this year. Last year had really good luck with the dead meat, not the mega meat, the dead meat, which is the smaller of the 2. It's a 1.5 inch cut on whitetail, my mountain lion. Really good luck with this. Actually, 3 whitetail in my mountain lion. And then the Grim Reaper Micro Hades Pro for my mule deer. And then I also shot a schwacker for my mule deer. That was the first shot. And then on my sheep, which I killed, that was also the schwacker. What I don't like about the arrow setup that I had last year is I have 3 different broadheads from 3 different manufacturers. It was a real pain last year because I'm ordering off of 15 different websites trying to get, O-rings for the schwacker, trying to get blades for the Grim Reaper, trying to get practice heads and replacement G5 dead meat parts. So this year, I'm going to put the 2 companies head to head. I'm shooting the G5 dead meat again, but as a competition, I'm going to shoot the Grim Reaper broadhead head to head with it. And I threw away the stinking sheet that said which one this is, but it's a 3-blade, it's 100 grains, and it's all stainless. It has a 1 in like 3/8 inch cut, so it's very comparable to the dead meat. I can't remember exactly which one that is. And then to go head to head with the Micro Hades Pro fixed head, I have the G5 Striker. This is a little bit bigger cut diameter, so I'm curious to see how well it flies compared to the Grim Reaper. But it is extremely sharp out of the package. It has good vent cuts, so I'm hoping we have some good flight characteristics out of these. But I'm putting them head to head. Whoever comes out on top this year is going to become my main brand of broadheads, quote unquote. So that's all my arrow changes. I'll get close-ups of all these, get close-ups of the nocks, get close-ups, and I'll do a description in depth on each one of these.